Oh well, but what do you mean? Like it all seems so mystical and like weird, like almost in an off type of non-dual way, you know, and they want to just bypass everything you're suffering there, and you're like, and they'll tell you, there's no one to be suffering, by the way. What are you, like, stupid? You know? So if I'm going to speak of being addicted to death, it does seem like this overtly profound but fake type of connotation. So I am going to ground it in reality. I'm going to try my best. At the same time, it's coming to me. Maybe you like Harry Potter, or you liked it when you were a child. The evil people, they're called Death Eaters. I thought that's interesting. And Voldemort, it literally means like the one who escapes from death. You know, so he achieves some sort of immortality, but that's not really the immortality that belongs to you, which I don't think exists in the book, because the other guy, Nicolas Flamel or whatever, he achieves immortality, but it's also through effort and through finding this external artifact. If you achieve immortality and that is just inherent to you, you don't really have to be striving to get it. It's just yours organically. So he takes on like different bodies and like it's like a parasite who in a sense achieves immortality, but it's not really immortality. This is to say, just because you're, you know, avoiding death, which is like a double negative, you know, two negatives make it positive. I'm not a mathematician. I don't know, I'm not that good at math, but I'm always thinking how people say double negatives and they sort of invert the meaning of what they think they're saying. So like, I'm not doing nothing right now. It's like, so you're doing something? But not trying to be smart, I'm just like, isn't that how it works? Energetically, I don't know. So just because you're successfully avoiding death, which seems to make it positive because it's a double negative, doesn't really mean you're alive either. So I was Voldemort, in a sense. I was successfully escaping life, and I had a really good life in this meaning at escaping life. Sort of the dream life, maybe. A lot of people maybe could have looked at me back then and were like, oh, he has 100,000 subscribers in the previous channel that is now dead. Like, don't worry about it. But in that moment, I was making a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. So it was like, wow, he's got everything he wants. Like, he can, like, I don't know. I'm gonna say fuck bitches, but I wasn't even doing that, like, to be honest. But like, you know, like that, like living that retarded lifestyle. I only did it once, like fuck a bitch. I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just saying like how I probably would have seen it back then. You know, I sometimes say things like that, clearly talking of my old self, and people are like saying like, so you're like misogynistic? Like, no, I'm like, I'm just trying to, you know, I go back to the past in my imagination because that's the only place there is, would be the present moment, right? To sort of try to convey how I would have watched it. So I definitely fucked a bad bitch, but it was only once, and even then I pay the consequences so much from that. You know, there were physical and and spiritual consequences. So actually, so all this to say, I had the you know, other people my age could have perceived my life and they were jealous. I remember. So it was like, oh, he has his own place and like he pays for everything and like sex and drugs. It's like, yeah, I mean, whatever. I was destroying my nervous system, that I think I already mentioned a lot of the times, and I hated life. So every activity that I did was sort of trying to escape it. So how do you escape life? We can say, well, you're alive, you can't escape life. Well, the thing is, you're alive in the present moment. You know, like that Bible Jesus quote is like, doesn't matter how much you worry, guys, you're not going to add hours to the day or like inches to your height, something like this. I'm paraphrasing awfully. This is what I mean. Like, the present moment is the present moment. That is life. You know, a cat knows it, a kid knows it, an animal, any animal. That's it. That's it. That's how it was perceived to the ego mind. The ego mind was like, fuck this bullshit, seriously, like, if I'm keeping like this life, like just the present moment life, it's not enough. I'm going to kill myself. So with that premise or excuse, you know, I'm going to kill myself, I want to avoid life, blah, blah, blah. Then he escaped it, seemingly, through drugs, and you have digital drugs now, you know, like dopamine, porn, Instagram, TikTok. Even if he didn't have a lot of sex, maybe he did jerk off a lot, fantasizing about the potential hookups he could have. So it was all like trying to extract life, or seemingly again life, or chemicals that would make you feel alive in a sense, but they're not really life. The perfect example that I have, in case I'm being too abstract, I don't want to be too abstract, so in case that's happening, the best example came when I start to, thanks to Grace, I say thanks to Grace in the sense that it wasn't me. Like if they tell me, oh, make a course on how to do this, I don't need know, because it's like, it's personal and or impersonal, we could say. So the ego doesn't do it, right? You get help from something that isn't you or is oppositional to you. Okay, you want to call that God, the light, it's all words anyway. So the first shining of light, the first ray of light that entered that dude's being, it was telling him, not through words, no, it wasn't like, you should do this. No, it's like a feeling, right? And the feeling was in meditation. No, not that I was like having sex with that girl or doing something retarded and the intuition came in that moment. No, it was deep meditation. Maybe I was deeply meditating because I was like getting tired of all the suffering that inherently I was creating, because it came, like, the whole package with the life that I was living. And the intuition said, hey, you should do a video about like teaching how to do this and singing. I'm like, oh, really? Well, fuck you, I worked really hard to quit my job and at an office job, and I worked real hard not to become a slave of the matrix, and I worked real hard on like finishing high school, because I could almost like not finish it because I was too depressed, and like, and then people wanted me to go to college, and I was like, I had to really like strive seemingly to convince them, seemingly again, or maybe it was like convince myself, hey, listen, like, I'm doing fine on my own, I can make money by myself, I don't need college and stuff, so leave me alone. So he was saying, I strive real hard with all these things, so now you want me to be a slave, like again, it's like, I'm not a slave for the matrix, I don't have to work at an office job, which I hated because of slavery, and now I have to be a slave to this energy that is telling me, go make a video teaching singing, like, that is the state of hypnosis that you could get into if you are sensitive, for example, or even if you're not, obviously. What I'm saying is, maybe if you're sensitive, it'll manifest as like movie-like levels of insanity, where it's almost like you have 3 personalities at the same time. At least that's what happened to me. So I was like, what do you mean, I didn't even realize that was me. You see, like, it was like, if I could talk to him, right, that my higher self, I hate New Age spiritual people. Don't split yourself, but maybe if in the beginning it helps, okay, it's my higher self, he's trying to guide me. Yeah, you could do that. Where I draw the line, we could say, is when they start harvesting your energy, and I made a whole video just on this, I think 2 videos. So in case you're going through that, I recommend it, but the base teaching of that would be, it's one thing to be humble and to sort of ask God, your higher self, whatever resonates for you, because you have adopted this place of humility, maybe through being like hit enough by life, which is good, because then your ego is no longer in charge. And we know the plans of the ego, right? As I'm saying, it's like he wants to do drugs, and he basically wants you to die or to escape life so much that it's basically like dying. So that would be really good if that's the place. Now, New Age spirituality, the way that I see it, could make you even like, the present moment is already not enough for most people, because, if you have nervous system disorders like happened to me and such, then it doesn't really feel good. You can look at a cat and they look peaceful, but when you try to be in the present moment, it is abhorrent. So then they say, start, instead of feeling like shit, instead of doing the things that you need to do, like I said, maybe make a teaching video and start somewhere. No. Instead of following your intuition, they say, start imagining that you're already this embodied version of yourself, and that just like simply by sitting and just imagining and visualizing, you'll start attracting that. And it's a hyper complex way to get you, instead of taking action, which doesn't really have to be like this huge action, by the way. It can feel huge to the ego self, and I'm going to talk about that. But instead of going the right path, you'll start desiring. So instead of being here in the present moment, if I start thinking about how I could have a bigger mansion and stuff, I'll start suffering if I go into that thought loop or frequency, right? So it lowers your frequency. They might suggest that then you will attract a higher house and bigger house, so it's a higher frequency. Okay, if you believe that still, you can try it out and then let me know how it goes. But they're definitely not harvesting your energy, okay? So now, because the present moment is definitely not enough to my ego self, he maybe starts being a little open, which is good. If you're there, that's cool. And that's the thing that the intuition, which is non-verbal, leads him to do. And then he's like, okay, I made the video. Okay, now, and he just goes all out, even harder on the obstructions and stuff to the path. So then when the next time came to do 2 videos, or hey, I don't know, 4, I'm exaggerating for effect, then the nervous system was like panicking. It was like, I know that I need to do these things because I don't know, the intuitive feeling after meditating or whatever now is too strong. I know that I have to, but it feels like torture now. You know, like he maybe didn't know that he was like causing this, and that maybe in an ideal world where you don't have all the conditioning and the being forced to go to school and blah, 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 all this bullshit, then maybe this could have just happened organically, best case scenario, no? If you have like super spiritual parents and they just let you, whatever, right? But because that wasn't the case, then he was already like struggling with the nervous system, and the second that he starts going on the good path or his path, he celebrates by ingesting even more drugs and doing even more retarded shit, and then the next time to get realigned with the path comes, it is insufferably difficult. So he starts to feel like I'm being punished and this is too difficult, I should kill myself again, or like, why does this happen to me? It's like all this, I mean, people will call it victim mentality, and I agree in a sense, but at the same time, I will stay away from those diagnoses. If anyone ever works with me one-on-one, I'm never going to say that, because I remember how much that hurts when you're like doing your best and then people be like, victim mindset much. It's like, bro, it's not a mindset. Like it's happening because my nervous system is destroyed. Then the thoughts take that shape because I'm in one of the lowest frequencies. It's not because you have a victim. They always talk to the ego, and then the ego reacts. And in a sense, I even want to say like rightfully so, because it is insulting. Because like there's all this trauma that you are forced to go through from this world, which you didn't choose. It wasn't your ego. If you could have chosen differently, you probably could have. Like, who couldn't, right? So then, but then they say it's you who has the victim mindset. It's like, no, I didn't choose. Maybe this is a little too far-fetched for you, but I can verify from direct experience. Like, I don't really need to debate it or beliefs, blah, blah, blah. Because like for me, it just became through knowledge, experiential. It is your nervous system, which is the one that gets the trauma inflicted onto it. You could say trauma, like what happened to you? Well, some heavy things energetically, but at the same time, physically, for me, being so sensitive, and maybe for anyone else, just something as simple as being forced to go to school every day and losing, autonomy over your body, something that's literally normal for everyone. For me, it was deeply traumatic. So on top of the energetically traumatizing things that I had to, because of karmic reasons, you throw that on top of that as well. And then, of course, your nervous system is going to be on a victim mindset frequency, but it's not your doing, it's not your fault. So that's where I would also draw the line there. At the same time, of course, if the ego mind hears me saying that, okay, so it's not my fault, okay, then like I'm a victim, okay, let me continue to watch porn 4 times a day, then it's like, I probably could have done that already, so I'm not judging you, but like we need to be careful with these things because the ego mind is very tricky. So he is avoiding life. What does this mean? Okay, it's really hard to start life because like you got prepared and groomed to work for the Matrix, and now you're starting your own life, and it's like, well, I'm supposed to teach singing or whatever the fuck. Like my ego was like, I don't even want to do that. It's like, yeah, maybe I'll record a video, especially if you tell me it's going to give me hundreds and hundreds of dollars, like the ROI, like the return on investment or whatever the fuck I said it like this because I don't know how to spell properly in English, not because I think like you don't know what it is. It's like my accent and stuff. Okay, so it's like, oh, if you tell me like that word is going to be super high, then okay, I can do it. Like maybe, well, I make one course and I get like a new house maybe. And that transactional nature of the ego, again, caused him to suffer even more, because of course it's going to be disappointing. Like I never made as much money as I did on the channel with my educational career, we could say, yet it gives me so much more fulfillment at the soul level, but the ego self isn't thinking about those things, or they don't even matter to him. So he could create these expectations super high just to almost to purposefully let himself down later on, and then engage even more with the destructive patterns, because like if you get one bad review or whatever, and he'll use that as confirmation. It's like, you see how I'm being tortured by the world, and like the energies tell me to do a course, and then people like don't like it. It's like, you know, all this whatever. It wasn't even true, by the way. Like people, the majority of people, because the wisdom was coming from not the ego, then they liked it. You know, it's like impersonal energy, like universal energy. We could say the same energy that makes the trees grow. It's super intelligent, right? Like we don't know how that's happening. So of course people are going to like the course, because it's like, who doesn't like a tree? Maybe other people don't choose to look at that tree. Maybe they prefer a different type of teacher or tree, you see. But like for the people who are like your archetype and such, it's like the perfect course. Like it was made for them. In a sense, it was. It's like a tree grows apples and stuff. It's not really thinking about like, I wonder if people are going to like the apple. No, it's just in a sense like the people who are meant to like the apples are definitely going to love the apples, because the tree that is growing the apples is super intelligent. But if the tree has an ego mind, he starts saying, it's like, I make the best apples. I'm like, now I should make a new plan to make the next apple, like the next version of apples happen. He would then see that he never had the power to do such a task. So one day it hit me, like all my addictions at the root level were me trying to escape life. Now if say escape life, it's not a double negative as escaping death, which is a positive in the end. So it is, escaping life would be like negative first, and life would be like a positive. So that's a negative, I'm thinking, right? And that's definitely how it manifested, because I was starting to build the life in the sense, not the life, sorry if the ego hears like the life, like, oh my god, like what, did you get a new car and you have, no. I mean literally being alive, full stop, like that's it, like always in the present moment, like nothing crazy, like that's it. There's like nothing else. Like where is it? Where is the manifestation and the higher set? Like it's just the present moment. There's nothing to extract. There's nothing to look forward to. You're just immersed in the present moment. Yeah, it's very fulfilling. But you know, I'm just saying how I probably would have seen to my ego. It's like, oh, that sounds boring as fucking shit. Should I just end it now? It's like, no, probably not, because like, you know, the next life is going to be harder. It's like just like getting really good at escaping life. Like you have to do your little dharma and stuff. I get this feeling that, like, you know, if you ever seen Rick and Morty, the Mystics, I think that's a way of the spiritual powers of making fun of the soul, the human soul, or I don't know if the soul is human, because I know like animals can have souls, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but like the way that they see us is like, oh, look at them, like they have a little stupid little purpose, which is like super specific, and then they disappear. Because you go back to your like origin or your home or whatever you came from, the light, your light, I don't know. But like I think that's I think that's how they mock us. Not really how they see us, but how they mock us. So because people don't want to do their silly little mission, and I'm not blaming them because I didn't want to either. So you have to know at this point that's not where I'm coming from. Because yeah, it's boring in a sense to the ego mind. It's like overly specific. Like, well, I'm teaching like mixed voice to like it's like super specific, right? And in a sense you didn't choose it. You know, if my ego would have chosen his mission, maybe it would have been famous content creator, personality based, maybe, I don't even know to be honest, but like something like easier. Like just making videos reacting to TikToks maybe, and people love my personality and they laugh so much and I get 3 million views per video. It's probably could have chosen something like that, you know? So I was like teaching singing, but teaching like this specific, very specific vocal technique that almost no one resonates with. It's like, okay. Now, some people would say then, well, so God chose it for you. No, I didn't. I mean, look, it's really hard to use words, but let's put it like this. I'm just going to say I didn't choose it. Now, what chose it? You could call it God, but you could also call it like whatever is oppositional to you. You know, like you could call it the lie. You could call it God. I'm not here to dismantle terms and stuff like, but you have to realize that terms and words are all made up from this world. So whatever is true to you, it can't be used in words from this world. It has to be true to your origin. So that chose it. Okay, to the ego mind, it seems like, oh, I can't choose it, so I have no free will. So I'm just a higher slave now? What the fuck? Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels. Because it's true. To the ego, it's like, oh, I have to go do God's will now. Oh, fuck me. It's like, okay, bro, like, you keep doing whatever you're doing, right? Like you already know how that's going to end. Here's a way that I can explain that in case you resonate with this. That is not super schizophrenic. It's like more grounded in reality. Okay, so I made this video a long time ago, maybe it was a month ago, I don't know. And I was narrating how I was left out of my PayPal account, which is the only account that I have to run my business. And I was like, oh, cool, you know, there goes all my security. And then, you know, it got restored, but it made me face this fear of the unknown that most people, they pretend they are not looking at it. And just because they're not looking at it, because they have their secure jobs. And I say secure jobs because, like, you know, you can get laid off, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you think you're more secure because you're not in a traditional job, some bullshit can always take place like what I just described. And there you go. The fear of the unknown manifests and you're like, oh, wow, I was never secure. So, but just to depolarize this, let's pretend that you can know what's going to happen. So people, they pretend they know what is going to happen because like each month in the same little number, same little day, the 1st or the 5th or whatever the fuck, I get money, you know? Wouldn't you say that's like living in the past in a sense? Because if you already know what's going to happen, that's the type of things you can say for the past. Like I know what happened in my past because it already happened. So if you know something that's going to happen, it's like because you're living in the past. If you don't know what's going to happen, that means at least you're going into the future, which is unknown and uncertain. No, it's not my way of like bragging, oh, look at me, I'm an entrepreneur. I worked an office job. And also, even when you're living into the future or the unknown, you still, like, it's not secure. Obviously, like, even people that I talk to or talk with who still have a regular job, they can easily say like, yeah, well, it is like an illusion of control anyway, because you can get laid off like any day or the company closed, like whatever the fuck. So yeah, it's like it feels more secure because supposedly you know it's going to happen, and like, but that doesn't really make it secure. That's how my ego wanted to live. It was like if I do drugs, if I have casual sex, if I install Tinder again or whatever dopaminic paths he went on, like little dopamine missions he went on all the time, you already know. Like it's like living in the past. Like how's that going to go? Okay, let me guess. I hook up with a girl in Tinder. It's a little awkward because I'm low-key autistic as fuck. Like what am I doing? But I want the dopamine. I want the and then we fight, and then or I block her or she blocks me or whatever. Like it's already, like you already know. I will watch porn. I was like, okay, I look for the best video. I skip through the best parts. I get bored and I'm like, oh, I remember that other video. I looked that one up, and then I'm jerking off to that part and I get close and I'm like, no, wait, I wanna like just lost. I wanna like, I don't wanna come to This is like embarrassing. I don't care, but like it is. It's like I want to come to something new because like I already seen this one, even if it's really good. Okay, let me open a new tab. It's like you already know, like that. Yeah, you can say, well, you found a different video, but like like the pattern, everything's the same. Energetically, it's the same. The imprint is identical. You can say, well, but you found a new video you never watched before, so that's like unknown. It's like, no, because energetically, like the same thing happened. It's the same pattern, exactly. So someone who is blind, which we can't really trust the senses as ultimate truth. So someone who is blind, but he could see the energy that you're doing in that pattern and all the previous times that you watch porn, he would see the same pattern. Yeah, a little longer and stuff, or shorter, but like just the same. It's like, boom, I don't know. So all this that he is doing is to escape life. In what sense? Well, in the sense that to be really alive, then, well, all the time you need to be following your intuition. Now, my excitement, we could say, and someone could say, and I understand, well, you don't look very excited. Your energy is rather neutral and peaceful in an off type of way. Yeah, well, I understand. And I also did fall into that trap in the beginning. I was like, okay, I need to make a video. Okay, like almost like pumping myself up so I can show up on camera like, what's up guys, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I mean, fair enough, if you're at least you're on your path, like I'm not judging you, like it's better to be manic than to be in a depressive hole where you're just like spiraling lower and lower. So kudos. At the same time, when the energy truly neutralizes, it's like if you're working all day, not because I'm forced to, by the way, just because I want to, we could say, but like, what I'm saying, it's like, yeah, you're going to have like a neutral energy, which is fine, like it's natural, like a cat has it. Now, if you, and I do this or did it too, but if you leave your cat in a closed space like all day, because this is a small house and stuff, and I went to work 8 hours, then he was like bored out of his fucking mind. So when I come back, he starts like zooming and jumping around, going fucking crazy. It's like, I understand, dude. Like if he could be able to maybe live all the time in a neutral, positive type of, in nature type of way, then when I come back home and he has his freedom and stuff, which I can't provide, when I come back, he'll be like, hey, what's good? It's like, I mean, he's still going to love you and greet you. This is not what I'm saying. But like, I'm still like saying the chaotic energy and stuff is happening because of all that repression. So what I mean by this is because I was still in that stage, sort of refusing to being truly alive. I was maybe doing half the time what I was supposed to do, and then half the other time I was trying to escape through drugs and like whatever the fuck I was doing. So then of course that's going to give you a manic energy. At the same time, for all this, we could say, if the ego fails at killing you, right? Because that's kind of what he wants, we could say. Ultimately, it seems like it, right? Because it's like, let's do things that destroy us and make us suffer. At the same time, he fails because he's a miserable piece of shit. And he gives you life, paradoxically, because he hits rock bottom so hard. This world is really hard that like you don't know what to do, right? It's like I could be homeless and starving tomorrow, and I'm supposed to fix it through the mind, but I can't do that either. So like, okay, I give up, I can't take it anymore. And then the motherfucker, he makes you, on top of that, he makes you watch porn a bunch or do hard drugs, and then be like this because it's like, okay, I'm retarded as fuck. That's a good thing ultimately when that happens, because the ego mind before that, he thought he was the shit. I'm like cool as fuck, I made this channel happen, okay, make it happen again then, bro. If it was you, like just make a new channel and make that one hit 100k subscribers. He tried and he couldn't. So it's like eventually you're like, okay, so I guess I'm not as cool as I thought I was. Okay, let me just try to find a higher power then, because I'm like retarded. And I can say, well, you don't have to talk to yourself like that. That's unloving. It's like, depends. It really depends. Like for me, it's not unloving to say that because I'm not talking about me. It's like I'm talking about the ego self. For the soul, which is me, it's a good thing that the ego self, started to see himself as fucking retarded, because that's the polarization or balancing act that he needed, because like he thought he was the shit. and therefore he was in control, seemingly, right? So it's like, it's a good thing that he collapsed and all went to shit. He built a life that was dedicated to escaping it. You see, like, the paradox there. It's like, you don't want to be in the present moment, so you're going to make or fabricate sort of like artificial intelligence type of fabrication, in the sense that it's not real. Really high, like super high present moments where a lot of dopaminic substances get released into your bloodstream, and then you do this and then you do that, blah, 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 just so you don't have to be in the present moment. You know? So it's like, but you're always in the present moment. So what are you doing really, right? You're always in the present moment here, we could say, right? And then you fabricate this super high shit going on over here. But then, of course, you fall back down. And you fall way harder than before. So now your present moment is actually like a little lower in frequency. So then you have to do it again. And then again. And it's just, it goes lower and it goes lower and it goes lower. Eventually you're at rock bottom, so you're like, if I do the high again, it's just to feel like a little baseline. In fact, if I do the super high now, it will feel like what I remember the present moment felt like before. So was I just shooting myself in the foot this whole time? Yes, in a sense. And in a different sense, no. You were like almost like fabricating the spiritual awakening. Now, when you're just alive for life itself, I think that's why a cat can enjoy peacefulness, and he's not really thinking like, I wish I had a better house, or I wish I had a new toy. And you say, well, but he would probably like it. Yes, obviously, but he's not thinking about it, therefore suffering. So his frequency remains pure and intact, and then he can actually enjoy whatever like appears. If you play with him for 10 minutes, he's not thinking about how some rich cat is getting played currently. His owner or whatever the hell is playing with him with a super expensive toy, and therefore he's like, okay, I'm not gonna play with this stupid stick, bro, what the fuck. Like, yeah, he's just like, oh my god, he's like, you know, he's like fully in the present moment, which, you know, is life itself. And you, again, you could rightfully say, and I do have like a bit of a depressive streak, or still my nervous system is recovering, so you could be like, oh, you don't look very excited now. It's like, yeah, but I couldn't like rather be doing anything else, you know, like I this is it, like this is the so this is life. I love you, see you soon.